Hello everybody and welcome back to Be a Better Game Master, where today we are going to continue our My 30-Day World series, in which I will showcase just a little bit more about my homebrew campaign setting of ENCHEA. The link to the My 30-Day World project is in the video description, so you can get started on your 30-day world. What? Also in the description is the link to the Kickstarter, A Dead Man's Guide to Dragon Grin, which has inspired this entire series. It is going strong. We funded on the first day, and now we are just plowing through stretch goals. Thank you to everyone who has supported us so far. Head on over there, see what we can offer you. I think you're going to be excited to see that book. But without further ado, today we are going to answer two questions. Who is ENCHEA's most nefarious villain? And who is ENCHEA's most renowned hero? Now, to answer this question for myself, I actually took some inspiration from the background story of the A Song of Ice and Fire series, or Game of Thrones for the people who watched the TV show. But when you think about Game of Thrones, you think of a gritty storyline where the lines between good and evil have blurred in some ways, and it might be a little more awful for some people to watch than others. There's political intrigue, there's backstabbing. It's the opposite of one of those old high fantasy romantic stories, like Through the Eyes of the Dragon or something like that. But all that said, look at Robert's Rebellion. It's this romantic backdrop to this oftentimes otherwise horrific story, but it is literally about a knight saving a princess out of a tower. It's about the fall of a mad king, it's about the torching of the past and the rebuilding of the future, and yet when you watch the show, it's kind of hard to believe that a time so romantic and beautiful and lovely ever actually existed in this place. That is where I got my inspiration for the most nefarious villain in ENCHEA, Kor, and the most renowned heroes, the Winds of Sur-Saline. Kor is a dark lord, mysterious and ancient and mythologized, and it's a legend. That never happened. What are you talking about? What am I even talking about? I know, it's just so silly. But the legend goes, this dark lord discovered a new kind of magic, one that could be used to travel between worlds. And in an effort that might be elaborated upon later on down the road, the Dark Lord Kor decides to harness this power, and not only use it to travel to other worlds himself, but to pilot the entire continent of ENCHEA itself through this magical travelway. This would mean almost certain death for everyone in the world, perhaps. I mean, there's no way of telling what you're going to hit. I mean, without precise calculations, you could fly right through a star or bounce too close to a supernova. And that would end your trip real quick, wouldn't it? So in an effort to thwart this selfish and malevolent personality that this Dark Lord is, a group of adventurers, known to legend as the Winds of Sur-Saline. That was like 3 accents plus me dying in one voice. There you go. These adventurers realize what's happening, and they realize that the only way to stop this person, this nefarious villain, from destroying the entire world, and who knows what else, is to dispel the magic in the region completely and utterly. But how do you do that? They realized that if they could construct this ancient relic, that they could use it to do exactly that. No more magic in, I don't know, 100 miles, we'll say. You see, we'll say. That's what it is to be a GM. Oh, yeah, well, how many miles? Oh, what do you think, player? Oh, 20, 25? Yeah, we'll say. But they can do this just fine. They assemble the parts, they construct the item. But in the process of following this ancient and all-consuming ritual, they've become magical beings themselves. So the myth kind of ends the way you'd expect. The Winds of Sur-Saline combine forces. They use this artifact to dispel all the magic in this region, and that does help close this magical means for the Dark Lord to destroy the world, but it also destroys the Winds of Sur-Saline themselves. And for a world like ENCHEA, where I want to infuse a lot of real-world type of villains and real-world sorts of issues, I kind of like having that romantic, epic fantasy tale backdrop. It's almost like having like an epic Middle-earth type of Lord of the Rings story to serve as the background of your more realistic setting. I feel like it's my Robert's Rebellion. And that's that. Thank you everybody for tuning in to Be a Better Game Master. Again, check out the links in the video description. I want to see what your 30-day world looks like, and also help us to fund A Dead Man's Guide to Dragon Grin, our Kickstarter for our dark world building kit and campaign setting. So Godspeed, double tap peace, and as always, Godspeed. and double tap peace. Yep.